Hello, you're listening to Food Rebels. Welcome back. This is the podcast that brings you brands, chefs, and live on-air tastings, a show that is dedicated to the more rebellious side of the food world, where we celebrate the people who have challenged the status quo. Today, we are mixing things up a little bit as AJ is super busy with her MBA finals and, as you can imagine, is spending every waking moment on her dissertation. So I'm afraid you've got me, producer of the show, Georgie Parsons, but more importantly, a lover of all things food and drink and someone who just wants to delve in deep and find all the interesting nuggets about our guests. And today, co-hosting with me today, I have Sam Beanie from AJ's Food and Drink PR agency.
Hi everyone, I'm really excited to be here. A bit about me, I've been at Sharp Relations with AJ for just over a year now, and I've worked with lots of rebellious food and drink brands, such as Crave, they're a free-from snack brand, Puck Pip, Capsicana. I've also been a food judge, which was really exciting. So Fudge Kitchen were developing some new flavours for their shops, so I took part in that judging, so that was exciting. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here and getting to know you guys.
Yeah, and today on the show, we have Frankie Paz from Plant Feasts and Rachel Peinberg from Mayam Jars. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Today is actually a very kind of vegan-based podcast and show, and I'm really kind of looking forward to delving in deep to trying all these delicious things that are in front of us.
The studio smells amazing.
It does smell really delicious. And I think today we're going to start with Rachel. Hi.
Hello.
So Mayam Jars, I mean, they look delicious. They smell delicious. Can you just tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Rachel. I'm from New Zealand. I was a chef before launching Mayam Jars, and I've been going about a year, and I make delicious, interesting, yummy things in jars.
And what does Mayam mean?
So it's Miam Yum, or Mayam is fine as well.
Sorry, it's not Mayam, Miam.
I will take Mayam.
Miam.
Yeah, so
okay,
it's
Miam,
named,
okay.
Yeah, it's named for the French saying Miam Yum, which is yummy, yummy. And actually named for my favourite sandwich shop in Paris, which is Chez Alain Miam Yum. And he makes incredible crepes and sandwiches. And it's just like a really fun, I don't know, I'm a smiley chef. So I thought Miam is, you sort of smile while saying it.
And how long have you been a chef? What was your journey?
So a bit of an interesting journey. Came into chefing quite late in life. I think I always wanted to be a chef, but spent 10 years doing other things post-uni. And it was back in 2019 I started chefing, a little bit in France and then moving around. And then during the pandemic, I retrained and got some formal qualification chefing and then started doing it full time and actually ended up working in London for a couple of years before launching this.
So what made you want to step away from chefing?
It's incredible. I absolutely loved it. I think the rush of service is just something you can't compare in any other industry that I've worked in, and it's deeply addictive. But my partner works a 9 to 5. I think coming into chefing later in life, everybody you know works a Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And basically, I just wanted to be involved in food in another way that I could see myself doing 10 to 15 years from now. And as much as I loved the fine dining and the rush of restaurants in London, I kind of love getting everyday people into cooking, and I used to work for a charity called Eat Club, and it was all about getting young people into cooking and food. And I think there's a real passion for just that like everyday delicious flavors that are accessible to everyone. I've always kind of wanted to have my own little thing, and that's how I ended up doing this.
I totally understand about the hours with the chef. It is
try not to hate on the industry. It's an amazing industry, but it's tough.
It's true. I mean, I worked in the events industry for a long time, and again, it's such unsociable hours. You're working when everyone else is playing, and it can be quite difficult to sustain that long term. I totally get that. So you describe your products as being more than just condiments. Talk us through that. How does that work?
So I'm on a mission to change how people see things in the condiment space. I think we're really caught up on looking at things being as a marinade, a stir-fry sauce, or just a ketchup or something like this. I really want to get people seeing them like chefs see them. It's a jar of flavour. So depending on how you use it, it could be a marinade, it could be a simmer sauce, it could be a condiment, it could be something you dollop or you drizzle. Okay. And so as part of that, I'm trying to do lots of little recipe cards and educate people on like, don't limit yourself. This is like the key to really quick, delicious, fun food. No. Just open your eyes to the possibility.
So can you talk us through one? Show us what we've got and how you would mix it up and do a marinade or do a dip or, whatever. Talk us through one.
All right. Okay, so one of my absolute favourite ones is the Moorish one. It's my charred aubergine pickle. It's sort of my homage to the incredible Indian food I grew up eating in New Zealand, where we have a really big Fijian Indian population.
Okay.
So it's smoky charred aubergine with lots of like spices and aromats. So one of the things I'm doing heaps of at the moment is turning it into a salad dressing. So a couple of tablespoons, bit of apple cider vinegar, olive oil. You can either shake it up or you can blitz it if you prefer like a more emulsified sauce.
Oh, okay. Like a much smoother kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you get that kind of drizzle consistency, and then you can obviously use it as your salad dressing. I use it as a marinade, beautiful on tofu and all kinds of things like this. If you're not plant-based, then absolutely use it on the protein of your choice. Turn it into a curry simmer sauce, a few tablespoons with a tin of coconut milk. Stir it through something if you're going to make a dal. I think, if you get me talking about food, I can go for hours.
No, but I love it. You're so right. You do. You go to the right section for what you want to cook, don't you? You go and you say, I want an Indian, so I'm going to get an Indian sauce in a jar. And then if I want to do something else, you go to the other section. And you don't really think that you can combine everything in one.
Absolutely. And I don't think you need, because it's Indian in style, it doesn't limit. So I would do like a homemade hummus, and then I would braise, say, Swiss chard and layer it with veggies, and then put it over top and just have this kind of combination of fusion. I think maybe because I'm from New Zealand, we have a very mixed food heritage because everybody is from somewhere else. It's just sort of, there's no rules to adhere to. So I'm very happy just dabbling in all the things that I love and just being flavour-led. Hate me if I'm wrong, but good things are good.
Things are good. Yeah.
So we currently have some on crackers in the studio. So which one is this one?
It is this one.
Oh, I picked up the wrong one. That one.
Just thinking, hang on,
That one is really good as well, whichever one I picked up.
That is
one
amazing.
Yep.
So this is a kind of pickle. I'd say this actually looks like more like a chutney consistency to what I would, to my naked, untamed eye.
No, absolutely. It is more chutney consistency, but I try to keep the flesh quite big. My thing is fruit and vegetables you can see. I want you to know that there's, it's clean label, only good things in there.
Yeah.
And actually through that, you do get a rustic appearance.
See, initially when you taste it, you can get the flavour, and after a couple of seconds, that's when you kind of get the heat.
Yeah.
It's really good, really good.
I know I bit into that thinking, oh, that's not that spicy, and then, whew.
Oh, sorry.
I love spice. So no, I was like, but you're exactly the same. You're saying, Sam, you can really taste the aubergine, then you get the spice and the heat coming through afterwards.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many amazing hot sauces and chili oils out there. So for me, when I do heat, I really want it to sort of be like a roller coaster of sensation. So you get a little bit at the start, then you get all your aromatics and you get your levels of flavour, and then there's like a little bit at the end just to see you through.
I'm seeing that right now. I'm feeling that right now. It's delicious.
Warming.
So
Really
what's your
delicious.
next one? What's your next favourite?
Okay, if I go favourite, I would say the next one that I love is, and our most popular of the sauce kind of range, is this exo sauce. So it's my vegan version of a mushroom exo sauce. So I do 5 different types of mushrooms blended with aromatics and some interesting little bits in there like seaweed and other things. So, yeah.
Okay, that's not what I was expecting at all.
I'm getting a
I was expecting a mushroom, but that's like way beyond a mushroom.
You
like a
have picked
flavour
up plum, I
explosion.
think. Have you?
Well, that's where it tastes like plum.
That is really lovely. So what would you do with that one?
So with this one, beautiful on like rice, ramen, noodles,
Yes.
as a marinade, stirred through things. I have customers who swear by using it in like ragouts and bolognese just to give you like a depth of flavour.
Yeah.
I do a fantastic little vegan pasta where I stir through Honestly Tasty Stilton. And then it's just this like very deep, creamy, rich, savoury, a little bit of heat, naughty pasta sauce.
That sounds delicious. So where do you drum up your flavour combinations from? Where do you get inspiration from?
There should be a good answer to this. It's just where my brain goes. I'm just one of those people who it's just add a bit of this, add a bit of this, add a bit of this.
Love that. All intuitive and instinct.
Yeah, really not probably the best way to make a product when you're trying to like meet buyers and explain
It
things.
just came to me.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, so it doesn't fit into any part of a particular shelf?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's just flavours that inspire. So that's why the sort of range goes all over the show. And again, I think it's that New Zealand thing. It's travelling, it's being close to Asia, it's having lots of different food growing up.
Influences
Exactly.
that come in from different places. Yeah, I totally get that. That's really delicious. And then you've got some sweet ones, haven't you?
Yes, I've got one sweet one in the studio today, which is the miso apple compote.
I mean, when I saw this, I requested that Rachel bring this in because I was just like, I love miso and I mean, who doesn't love an apple compote? So the combination together is going to be, I'm sure, let's have a go.
For me, this sings of like baked brown butter apples from childhood.
Georgie is currently going for the biggest dollop on the,
of course,
on the cracker.
Exactly. So on yogurt. Could you make a crumble with this or whatever?
Absolutely. I've done a Swiss roll. I've done like celebration crumble cakes. I'll do it over some pastry.
Just rolled up in some puff pastry or something and baked.
It's almost got a caramel taste to it.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's the miso that does that. The more you sort of low and slow baking with, obviously there's sugar in there, but, the miso combo just gives you this really beautiful caramel.
And you actually almost
taste.
Hardly even taste the miso. You wouldn't even know because it's just giving those caramel notes rather than like a miso note.
Yeah. Though randomly, I have had some customers who've been like, I would use that in savoury cooking. And I'm like, are you absolutely? Okay. For me, it's definitely sweet, but I do love the line for people where it's like, which way do you go?
Yeah, exactly. No, really get that.
So where do you get your products, like your produce from? Whether your ingredients, where do you source them all from?
So at the moment, it's a massive amalgamation. I'm sort of still at that really beginning of the journey of trying to have some buying power and like working with local producers.
Nice.
So at the moment, I use UK produce as much as possible, but with the amount of mushrooms and things that I go through, it has been a little bit of a struggle to find British mushrooms throughout the year. So at the moment, they come from a range.
Because mushrooms are such a big thing at the moment. So
Yeah.
we're just not have enough produce to meet the demand that's out there at the
I'm
moment.
not big enough to buy enough to have priority, I think. But I have a very exciting meeting this week with a local mushroom supplier. So fingers crossed soon I will have beautiful local mushrooms. But yeah, being in Kent is pretty amazing for having access to the fruits. And then, aubergine. Unfortunately, I do use sort of some exotic things like the pineapples. Obviously, they come from further afield. But it's one of the journeys that I'm going on this year is to try and find a lot more local suppliers who are prepared to work with someone maybe a little bit small as we grow and then see what we can do.
I mean, these are all the things that you have to think about when you're starting out and you're a small producer. You can't just land in with and play on the big scale.
No.
And you've got to find and harbour your own relationships and make these things happen. It's not simple.
Yeah, and I think now it's really good. I've been going a year. I kind of have that proof of concept and people are a lot more open. Some of the local farms and things are a lot more open to having that discussion with me because they've seen that it sells. They've seen that we've got some stockists. I think it's a really exciting year of trying to do a lot more of what I stand by, which is local food miles. We're in Kent. We've got options. Watch this space. Hope to shout about some really amazing local suppliers shortly.
And you're starting doing gift boxes and sending things out.
Yes, so gift boxing has been a really interesting side of the business. I never thought would be so big, but it's been really, really popular. So I do different kind of themed boxes of putting together parts of the range with little recipe cards and things to help people either as a starter pack or a vegan gift box or a barbecue kit, a mushroom lovers kit. So we've got some really exciting ones being released very shortly for Father's Day. A bit late, I know, but we'll get them to you on time, don't worry. And then one of our most popular ones is the Mushroom Lovers one with our two most popular mushroom offers, and then the cheese board box, which I do as a rotating sort of change of whatever I'm vibing the most each season.
Oh,
the
so
things to go for like apero cheese.
With your cheese, so the chutneys
Absolutely,
to go with that.
yeah. And so obviously the pickled mushrooms and things, they go in different.
Oh wait, hold on, you put pickled mushroom on it. Sorry, we haven't even tried these. You put a pickled mushroom on the cheese.
It doesn't have to be on cheese. It's just for apero. It's more like a general kind of, if you're having a picnic, if you're having a cheese board, then these are the snacks. I put together a little recommendation for.
And it's a lot more interesting than kind of normal kind of jars of things, I
you.
think. Personally,
Yes,
after tasting them, I'm like, oh, there's another flavour. Oh, another note.
And equally, if I'm honest, I've just been guilty of pouring a glass of white wine and then just eating these out the jar with a fork. So you don't need the cheese, guys. The cheese is just optional.
That is delicious.
Thank you.
What type of mushroom is that?
So you have a mix there. Inside the jar is fresh shiitake, enoki, and oyster. I think you're currently eating the enoki if you're meaning the long stringy ones. Yeah. So
They kind of look like a noodles, so you could easily get that confused. But actually, it's incredible. The flavours are so good. You could definitely eat that by itself.
absolutely. Chopped up through a salad or pan fry them so they go really sticky and then top them on your ramen rice.
Oh yeah.
Protein.
Even a pancake.
Exactly.
Bang it.
Yes. Yeah. all of this goes fantastically in a pancakes, my Dutch heritage. If it can roll, breads, pancakes, beautiful.
And actually it's got so much to it, as in like it's really steaky almost, like it's very meaty like, and I think that's what is so lovely about mushrooms, isn't it? You feel like you are, for me, I'm not vegan, but I do like to try and have, you know, some vegan days or vegetarian days at least once or twice a week and that stuff. And sometimes it's just getting your head around some different options, isn't it? To then substitute out your chicken pieces and maybe put that kind of thing in instead, as you said, in a wrap or a ramen or whatever it is. And you get that same kind of fulfilling.
Absolutely. And for myself, I'm actually flexitarian, but I predominantly cook vegetarian and vegan. And so one of the things I wanted to do with Miam Jars is to kind of show how easy it is, if you've got some really amazing jars of flavour, to actually just grab whatever seasonal vegetables, legumes, pastas, beans, etc. around and create really beautiful, fulfilling dishes. And then if that is the side piece because you do want meat and you just want to use it as a marinade, that's totally fine. If you do want to go more plant-focused, then this is like a really simple, easy way of doing it. You don't have to recreate the wheel, make everything from scratch.
Exactly. See, for me, I can literally see me going, okay, I've got food shopping to do by the end of the week. What have I got in the cupboards? Find a jar of your stuff and then just see what else have I got. Have I got noodles? Have I got rice? What have I got? Because there's a delicious dinner there. Yeah.
And you very kindly have given us a discount code for all our listeners, Food Rebels 20, which gives you 20% off the website. Do you want to just tell us what the website is?
Yes, so the website is miamjars.com, so MIAM jars.com, and you'll find our range there. We've got some new limited editions coming shortly, and all the gift boxes should be online by the end of the week as well. So
amazing.
The offer counts for that too.
And where else can we buy your products? Where are you stocked?
So locally, actually currently nowhere. But if you are in London, you can find us at Super Rare. You can find us at the deli downstairs. A lot of like East London locations where I kind of used to live.
Amazing.
And then online as well at deli.market is another one with our full range.
Perfect. That's been so wonderful. Thank you, Rachel. Frankie, we have got the most gorgeous looking cookbook sitting in front of us here. Tell us about Plant Feasts, because this looks like an absolute labour of love and your baby. So please tell us all about it.
I guess I have to start with it's not a normal cookbook, and I'm sure people say that. For me, it's all about good, loving the body food, but also about the conversations and bringing ceremony into the everyday. I think now we're like, I was inspired by a chili, and it's like, does anyone care about that anymore? Like, let's talk about deeper feelings. And it's kind of where food meets, I guess, like taking our masks off and like meeting each other in like love and pain a little bit more and having a laugh. And there's like foraging. My grandmother's 97. She's been vegan for 60 years. I lived in the jungle for 5 years. So I like kind of stripped everything away.
Oh, wow.
And like cater for retreats and medicine retreats. And everything is like in here that I would want to read after, like, you know, there's not a book really like this, I believe.
So this is taking food to almost like a ceremonial level, as in like we're getting back to really sitting down and enjoying and serving other people and bringing joy and all that kind of stuff. Is that the kind of...
Yeah, and ourselves, but not in an annoying hippie way, because sometimes it's just like, yawn. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a little bit more relatable. Like, I am a person that come from a working class family. You know, I'm not like sipping on green juice and everything's amazing. It's like life comes with its challenges. So there's talks about mental health, like divorce, like all these real things that are so connected with food that we don't actually talk about. And it's like, I believe we need more vulnerability in the world, and this is the cookbook of that, within like some amazing banging recipes that are easy and super nutritious.
Have you always been vegan?
No, actually, I was addicted to drugs for like a really long time, and then kind of in the influence of my grandmother, I then kind of started detoxing and learned, when you're in the jungle, you take away everything you believe to be true. And it was just like me and nature. And that was when I kind of started to maybe like hear them seeds that my nan planted for all them years.
And why did you head off into the jungle?
I mean, I met a man and fell in love with a shaman, like classic story, isn't it? And then married him after like 6 months.
Wow. And tell us more about this. I mean, what lessons did you learn when you were disconnecting from everything else?
You learn that actually we fill our lives full of a lot of crap and like mental health. If you're into being in the jungle, you're going to sit in nature for 6 weeks, all the problems you have will probably just will go, and you'll be left with more of the root. And when you're in the jungle, you kind of can't escape that, and it's actually terrifying. But then you learn like cooking as a community. You learn, you know, sitting over the fire and like stirring the soup, and people like singing and talking about the love and talking about the pain. And also it's not that dissimilar from what my grandma talks about from the ancient times. Like she was a homeopathic nurse in World War II. Community was massive then. So the book is focused on community, but also ceremony for yourself. Like, you know, you can't just have a bath and that's self-love. Like it's actually cooking a really good meal for yourself. That's kind of where it starts, you know. And also talking to strangers. Like I do these ceremonial supper clubs on my boat. So I get 10 strangers together. No one talks about their labels or any of this. It's like what you think and feel. And we learn about the ancient stories of the land and all these kind of things, and eat the food and feast on plants.
Where do you find these people?
Oh my God, there's like, it's such a wait list. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Like it's
Wow.
non-stop. Like they sell out within like 24 hours. People have asked me to go to bigger venues, but I refuse because my supper clubs before were like 60 people. And actually I think personally the world needs more intimate spaces where we can really communicate, all of us be heard.
On a boat.
On a boat, yeah, exactly.
Tell us about this on a boat.
On a boat. Yeah, so I live on a boat in Hackney, and after being in the jungle, and my ex-husband came to the UK, and I saw the world through his eyes. So, you know, never having a mobile phone or a bank account and then come into like Babylon. And it was fascinating to see, but he really struggled in the end. He wanted to go back to the jungle, and I felt like I had a bit of a mission here, and realised that I'm a city girl and probably a little bit of a capitalist. As much as I tried to run from it. And then I moved on to the boat, and it was kind of where I can have survival skills but live in a city. And then the supper clubs were, I'd done them before in a restaurant, but actually it was better like this.
Am I right in thinking you lived in a squat for a while? Which
Oh, I mean, I've lived
kind
in loads of squats.
which gave you a kind of the idea of community and living and cooking for each other in a real kind
Yeah, and also as well, like I grew up in a house where we had no money. There was bailiffs, you know, it was like sometimes we didn't even have money to pay like this guy Reg the Veg that would come with the offcuts. But it was like it didn't matter. The door was open, there was firemen, prostitutes, cleaners, everyone just came, and there was a space, and you could have a little potato and a little bit of veg. And it was, I mean, around alcohol and drugs and stuff, but it was about coming together and looking after each other. And I think in the working class community, we do look after each other a lot more, you know, because we need each other to survive in this world that tells you you can't. So kind of fused with that, and then squat living and jungle. I mean, you can kind of get the vibe.
Your
Kind
life.
of random.
I know.
Life is
I
just
know.
amazing.
And also, there's bits in here about foraging, which I'm starting to get into and I'm loving. But tell me, how does that work living in Hackney? I mean, you know, foraging, it's what I live in the middle of the countryside. I have access to nettles, dandelions, blackberries, apples, crab apples, all over the place. But if you're living in London, what are your options? Where would you suggest people to go to?
We have all them options, and this is the thing. I do workshops like foraging and feasting, because again, if you don't have much money, it's a really like this organic food is amazing, and I think we should support our farmers, but it's not accessible and it's not easy. And saying that to someone that doesn't have that much money or wants to make choices, but still, you know, like prices are so expensive for everything. So foraging is great, but also the thing about this book is that it's got easy recipes. No one's got time to ferment an almond for 6 days, you know, or something like that. So it's all about kind of keeping it real, and like how cumin seeds were used in the pocket of newlyweds to kind of unify their relationship, and, you know, all these old stories that I think we've lost on this side of the world.
And you've brought some stuff for us to taste. So let's start with this. What's the drink that you've brought us?
So this is one of my favourite parts of the book, is called, it's the potion. So bringing play into the mundane. Like we all thought we were witches and wizards back in the day, but we forgot to play. And when I was coming off the drugs, I was like, how do I stay up with my mates? Like they're all partying. So I started to, you guys look terrified.
Your joy in this.
But
What have you just fed us?
welcome to the madness. No, joking. But it was all about using plants and kind of creating natural highs, or embracing the nervous system. So this one is stay up till sunrise. Like you'd need a litre of that to like stay up. But I can go to Glastonbury and party on that, or if I'm feeling tired, I'll have a cup of that.
So what is in this?
So what's this
It's
one?
delicious.
What's this one called?
This is called Stay Up Till Sunrise.
Okay, stay up to sunrise.
Stay up till sunrise. So this was a focus of like when you're changing your lifestyles and coming away from more, I guess, that party lifestyle, you can still hang out with your mates. And I'm like the most vibes at the festival now, just sipping on this. So it's got cacao, maca, a bit of chili.
Oh, that's what we can taste.
Yeah.
It's the
There's a kick.
chili that's giving us the kick.
Yeah. So it's like also cacao opens the heart, you know, it meets us where we're at. It releases the same chemical as like ecstasy does in the brain, but it's all natural. So you won't crash. You won't crash afterwards, you know, you just consistently and you'll just be beaming from the inside out.
So just to clarify for the listeners, it tastes like a hot chocolate.
Yeah.
And it's just kind
With a kick.
yeah. So initially you go, oh, hot chocolate. Then you go, oh, hang on, what's this?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good, really good.
Beautifully creamy and like got the bittersweet notes. It's absolutely so well balanced.
Oh,
delicious.
Thank you. And the thing is as well, like cayenne pepper is like ignites passion, you know, chili's all about passion. And this is the thing when we're bringing like food to kind of ceremony, we think it has to be really serious. It's like, no, these ingredients are like, you know, be a witch and wizard, start playing like and learning the old stories of the land.
Cayenne pepper is so good for your gut, isn't it? And
Detoxing.
Yeah.
There's so many like amazing benefits to these plants, but also amazing stories of old wives' tales as well, which I think have so much strength behind them.
Yeah. We were just talking actually earlier in the office about when I had to give up sugar, and we were just saying about how we just forget that actually there's so many herbs and spices out there that can really take the place of the sugar that we always think that we need to give that kind of depth, you know, some kind of flavor to it. But there's so much out there. And you're exactly the same. As soon as I started throwing more spices in, like going into my shelves, you know, spice rack, and I was like, I haven't touched half these for ages. And you're saying like, wow, I can really create beautiful, tasty, delicious things. I think you've got something else for us to taste as well, haven't you?
So I've got a wild orange ganache tart, which is like, well, yeah, try it and you can tell people.
And if people are starting out on their vegan journey, what would you suggest that people start thinking about or doing, or you know, how would you guide people?
I think it's just going step by step, to be honest. I think people go in hard, but actually this book isn't about just going completely plant-based. It's about just eating more plants, however that is for you, because it's sometimes not sustainable. And this up and down yo-yo thing that our culture is so used to, trying this and that, is like just consistency. Eating more plants. If you're going to eat meat, eat great meat if you can. It's all about kind of meeting yourself where you're at and not putting too much pressure on yourself. But if you can eat, just, you know, this book is full of very simple recipes. Like this cake is raw. That's how my first hustle was, selling raw food cakes to
Gosh,
cafes.
that is really delicious as well.
Incredible.
I think also my problem is I don't think I've invested in the right cookbooks for the vegan and the vegetarian. So I get a lot of stuff off Instagram or off somewhere, and then I forget and I can't remember where I found it. So actually to have a book all about the right guides and places and things to do and with a bit of foraging sounds absolutely perfect. I can't.
And there's tips of how to save money. And also, like, I've been plant-based for 15 years. My grandmother for 60, not 16. So we're coming from a place of, like, living it, you know, like, really living it. It's not like, oh, I've been doing it for 2 years and now I've created this. This is, like, knowledge from my nan's, like, decades, you know, and then kind of putting it into a book. I don't believe there's something like this that exists.
So tell me, I'm desperate to know, how was it meeting Jamie Oliver?
Oh, he's an absolute G. Like, love him. He's been so good to me. You know, he really believed in this book. And even on the show that I was on, he kind of... my book wasn't ready to be made. There's so much more than a cookbook. And he knew that as well, you know. That's why he kind of encouraged me to carry
you were on
writing.
the cookbook challenge.
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
Oh, my God, so random. Someone just sent me an email, like, I think you'd be great. And then I was on the show, like, after, like, one chat.
Amazing. That's so wonderful.
You nailed that.
Yeah, they probably were like, oh, my God, this girl's crazy.
Sadly, we are now out of time. I can't believe we've finished already, but Frankie is doing a giveaway on our Instagram for a copy of her book. So go to our Instagram handle and you can try and win a book. But a big thank you to Frankie Paz from Plant Feast and Rachel Peinenberg from Miam.
Yum.
Miam. Miam.
We'll take Miam.
Miam Jars for coming on the show. You've been listening to Food Rebels, which is available on radio stations around the UK. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and Audible. Please remember to subscribe and to rate us with 5 stars, hopefully, as it makes a huge difference to our podcast. We're also on Instagram at food_rebels_. So give us a follow. And if you'd like to come on the show, send us a DM. Thanks for joining us and make sure you taste the rebellion.